Whether you succeed or not is irrelevant. There's no such thing. Making your unknown known is the most important thing. And keeping the unknown always beyond you. I actually don't believe that the main concern, the main pain point that us artists deal with is exposure, making money from our art, finding our audience, making a living. Those things are all nice and those are important. That's not really what is at the heart and the deepest part of what it means to be an artist. The deepest need that we have and the biggest point of frustration is simply living with this burning vision, this expression that's trapped inside. And nothing would be worse than to go to your grave and have that living inside you still, having never been expressed or shared. We have so many ideas that are dying to come out that we would actually be more satisfied with a life knowing that you simply created the art that you desired to make and life itself was what it was. I don't think any of us would choose riches and luxury over letting that part of our soul wither and die. I gave it all to be an artist. Have you? Bury me in California. Bury me beneath my debts. I gave it all to be an artist, then forgotten when I'm dead. Those are the opening lines to a song that I wrote called Bury Me in California. And I wrote those words, that song, pretty much right after I finished principal photography on my first feature film. The film that I wrote, produced, and directed is called Los Angeles. And in order to make a feature film with no investors and no studio backing, of course, I took a big bet on myself. And before I keep going about my story, I want to help you understand that this is actually about you and all of us artists. So I'm inviting you to step into this story with me. I maxed out my credit cards. I put myself in a bad position to make a film that was esoteric, it was spiritual, it was poetic, and it has yet to see the light of day. So was it a mistake? Now, I made mistakes along the way, but doing so was far from a mistake. This was the film that I had to make as if it were the only film I would ever make. I gave it all to be an artist. The lines from that song are 100% true. The full weight was something that I was feeling after we finished filming. I was so exhausted after driving all over Southern California, driving temperamental actors all over town, dealing with logistics like food and location and insurance, all while doing my best to maintain the essence of what I was trying to do with the film as things could get whittled away in such an arduous journey. And yet when I was finally done, I felt purified. I drove out to the desert just to give myself some space, and I wrote that song. So this is not a bullshit video. This is as real as it gets. And I can't in good conscience tell any of you or advise people to do something that I would not be willing to do or have not done myself. And I'm generally a very kind, warm, supportive kind of a leader. However, I will admit, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for people who are, after years and years and years, who are still sitting on the fence. I gave everything of myself, no safety net, to express what was dying to come out through me, and this is something I still do. Now, I can recognize the ways that I was foolish about this. Next time I go about this, I'm going to have more of a strategy with the release and make sure that I correct my mistakes, which is what I did in my second film. I was able to work with more of a team, and the second film I directed, we had more exposure, more recognition. But I also find some solace too in just knowing that there are other renowned filmmakers who have movies that never saw the light of day. So I do take some solace in that. So I'm not going to max out my credit cards again, and I'm not advising that you do that. What I am saying, though, is that there's a significant way that we all, as artists, commit to something that looks crazy in some sense. This is what it means to sell out, but sell out to the ways of the world. Because you realize how little a lot of those externals matter. And this is significant because this is sort of an eternal human issue. And we look at something like the story of Abraham and his son Isaac. Abraham had been striving to have an heir and finally had his son Isaac. And then in the story from the Bible, in Genesis, he's asked to sacrifice Isaac. And at the last minute, when he was actually going to finally kill his own son, because God told him to do it, because he was compelled by that spiritual calling, at the last minute, God provided him a ram as a substitute. Now, I'm not going to go into all the symbology, into all the morality of that story, because what's important is that to pull out and extract from this is this idea of self-sacrifice and giving yourself to that higher divine calling, and to step into an act of trust that may feel like sacrificing what is most precious in your life. And it is an act of trust. And I don't recommend doing what I did with your credit cards to put yourself possibly on the street. But there is some kind of symbol. There is something in your life that is symbolically holding you back from making that step. And it may feel like a monumental risk. It may feel like death. It may feel like the death of your own child, in a sense, to put an end to that and to move into what you are being called to do. So to stop cheating yourself and your art by energetically escaping to things like social media or all the other distractions that are available to you. It demands all of your mind to spend hours of unfettered focus, going deeper into your canvas, into your prose, into your lens. It demands all of your heart. A half-assed, half-passioned creation will receive a response that is half-assed and half-interested. It demands all of your body to take care of yourself so you can operate optimally. I was exhausted, and many of you know who have done film productions, the hours can be really long, and after 21 days, I had nothing left to give. And in the end, did my movie blow up at Sundance or get me into dinners with Hollywood elites? No. But I know that my relationship to myself, to God, and my commitment to my art is what Rilke talks about in his seminal book, Letters to a Young Poet. There is only one way. Go within. Search for the cause. Find the impetus that bids you write. Put it to this test. Does it stretch out its roots into the deepest place of your heart? Can you avow that you would die if you were forbidden to write? Above all, the most silent hour of your night, ask yourself this: must I write? Dig deep into yourself for a true answer. And if it should ring its assent, if you can confidently meet this serious question with a simple "I must," then build your life upon it. It has become your necessity. Your life, even in the most mundane and least significant hour, must become a sign, a testimony to this urge. My friends, comfort is a blessing, but we have fallen asleep in comfort's abundance. The Marine destroys his mind and his body to rebuild it through obscene training, to learn the limits of the human form, then push beyond them. The yogi meditates and transcends desire in ways that most people could never imagine. My invitation to you artists is to finally surrender to what Rilke calls forth in you, the must. What must you create? That is your opus. That is your life. I gave it all to be an artist and obeyed that must in me. And absolutely, I'll learn from those mistakes and make sure to correct them for next time, best I can. But I also want to share that in that moment before I committed to send out the checks, to pay the fees, and to say, all right, we're shooting. Let's start filming next week. All those thoughts that I had of, oh my God, I'm fucking crazy. I'm going to die. I'm going to be homeless. None of those came true. I ended up paying off my debts in time. I continued to live and eat. In fact, I ate dinner tonight. And I continue to make more of what I love. And with that, a peace. That when I'm gone from this realm, that insatiable must that I had to create this thing and say it in this very specific way exists. I externalized it. It became beyond myself and more than just this temporal existence that I'm living. And the chorus to my song wraps up like this. I gave it all to the love of my life, and she gave me my soul. Found me in the darkest of nights, and I'll never walk one more day alone. Just as a husband commits his life to his lover and a wife to her husband, the demands may be high and deep, but the reward your art returns to you is pure love and a deepened connection to your soul. Devotion to your art is how you sell out to the trivial ways of the world. Devotion to your art is how you find riches beyond measure. And devotion to your art is how you ignite that life that is in you.